Remember Tool Time, Tim Allen? Well, 106.3 KRZK has Cool Time with Tony from Allied Air in Branson. Every Saturday morning from 9 to 10 on News Talk 106.3 KRZK. Listen in for the latest consumer information about heating, cooling, saving money for your HVAC system, and more. Your cool specialist, Cool Time with Tony from Allied Air. Join him every Saturday morning from 9 to 10.
Your KRZK News Time approaching 9:04 on your Saturday. It is the 19th day of April 2014. 46 is your temp here at the Office Concept Studios. You've got a beautiful Saturday ahead of you here in Ozark Mountain Country. Thank you so much for joining us for another edition of Cool Time with Tony at Allied Air. Want to remind you, hook up with us, 330-1063. You've got questions for Tony, he'd be happy to answer them. Studio line 330-1063. Text us your comments and feedback at 699-8446. Again, 699-8446. You can also check us out on the live stream. The live stream is active right now at KRZK.com. Go to the on-air tab, scroll down to online streams. You can see right into the studio. You can see what Tony and I are up to right now. And we thank you, our holdovers, as well. We've got folks that are sticking with us on the stream. We appreciate that. And now, your host, saying good morning, Mr. Tony Martin.
Good morning, and thank you for having me, Josh.
It's a pleasure to have you back in studio on this lovely weekend, my friend.
I'd like to thank our sponsors, Westinghouse Heating and Cooling Products, Paul Kruger Construction, and Cantina Laredo and Black Oak Grill down at the Branson Landing. And Josh, this week we got to find some more customers that had extremely high utility bills. I found a customer that was paying her lowest bill this winter was $700, and her highest bill was over $1,200. Mm-hmm. We were able to go in and we're going to get her fixed up for just under $1,500.
Wow! So, and what was she paying again for energy bills?
Between $700 and $1,200 a month.
How long? Okay, how long was she dealing with that?
Well, it's undecided yet. She was paying higher energy bills last summer a little bit. This was creeping up on her, and it really, really hit her hard this winter. And
that, I mean, you know, we spotlight that consistently.
We do.
It's a due diligence, I think, Tony, that we do that, because something like that, to me, that's a mortgage payment.
It is, and Josh, there was no reason for it. This could have been caught and taken care of in our ESA inspections for very little cost. And now it's going to cost her a little bit to get it taken care of.
And sometimes, you know, I mean, we talked about that, and last week you really shed light. It's real homeowners out there. It's real people that have gone through the whole process. They've had some horrible situations that have been completely turned around. They're comfortable. They're healthy. They're paying reasonable energy costs. But we shine a light on that because everybody out there, you know, far and wide, can sympathize with those situations. And kudos to you for bringing that to the forefront.
Well, thank you. Today's discussion, I would like to talk about an important decision with long-term implications.
And I like hearing, Tony, in kind of our topic of discussion, you use a term in there that and you refer to it as thief. I like that. I don't know where you're going with it yet, but I like that terminology. And in my mind, I kind of have an idea of how that's going to tie in. But
sure. Well, buying a new heating and cooling system is a very important financial decision that we're often faced with under stress due to extreme circumstances seemingly out of our control. And the money you spend buying and installing a new system is only a small portion of your total cost. It's often just the proverbial tip of the iceberg.
You're just getting started.
That's
you have
right.
no idea how large this iceberg is going to be, but you don't want it to sink your ship, and that's your house.
Exactly. And very few homeowners actually receive the savings of 25 to 50% off their utility bills after purchasing a new comfort system for their home. But it's an unfortunate reality that most people only see small savings that can't justify what they've spent to replace the old system. Mm-hmm. And there are some people who haven't saved a dime. Only a small fraction of newly installed systems reduce utility bills the amount that they are capable of and that the homeowner were led to anticipate.
Wow.
And there's three reasons for that.
There's things that affect the fact whether or not they're going to see the maximum savings.
Exactly. So we're all told when we get a new system that it's going to reduce our electric bills and provide us more comfort, but that's not necessarily true.
Okay.
The three reasons that your new system isn't performing at its potential is, number one, installing the wrong size system. Number two, your ductwork may have hidden defects. And number three, your system was just not installed properly. Now, this is a problem that we see more times than not.
Tony, I think we should reach out. I'm just gonna throw this out there. Now, folks, you're listening to the show right now. You're on Cool Time with Tony at Allied Air. And Tony just laid it down. There's three reasons for a new system not performing at its potential. Installing the wrong size system, your ductwork could have hidden defects, or your new system was installed improperly. I can't ask for a show of hands, Tony, but I think I'm going to ask people out there, if you've experienced any one of those three things in your home or a commercial setting, text us. Text us at 699-8446 and just say, yes, I have.
Yeah, just if
simple.
If you've recently purchased a new system for your home and you're not satisfied with the comfort or the utility bills, just call us and give us a heads up. Say, hey, I'm in that category.
Yeah, you don't have to say who you are. Just text us. Let us know where you stand. If you've experienced any one of those three things, share with us.
Well, unfortunately, the wrong size system or even the right size system improperly installed could sentence you to years of excessive utility and repair bills. And it also may not deliver the comfort you expect and paid for, and it may adversely affect the health and safety of your family.
Wow. We're getting into discussion of thieves, folks. It's another great edition of Cool Time with Tony with Allied Air. Forget Tool Time. This is Cool Time at 106.3 KRZK. KRZK News Time is 9:12 on your Saturday. We've got 46 at the Office Concept Studios. Friends, you are in the comfort zone. This is Cool Time with Tony at Allied Air. Kicking things off with long-term decisions, implications tied to it, and those unforeseen circumstances that can creep up on you, the homeowner, like a thief in the night.
Exactly. We're going to address the first thief of the three thieves that rob us of energy. Is sizing the system correctly. It takes a lot of information, and it takes time to gather that information. And there are many factors involved in the calculation of the sizing of a system correctly. After you get the information collected, it takes more time to calculate that information, or even if you enter it into a computer program. Then the computer program spits out some numbers, but they're only as accurate as the data that you've entered. So it's very important that the person doing the load calculation is well trained in doing so.
Now, you make a point there about the individual that is handling this equipment and putting in your data, putting this information, and my eyes trained in on the phrase well trained in doing so.
Yeah.
Because people out there have probably come across somebody that is not trained that well.
It's very easy to do, and we're going to get into that a little bit later.
Because you dropped a bombshell on me while we were off the air, and I can't wait for you to talk about that later on in the show. So that's a common thing.
It is common.
Wow.
Especially right here in the Ozarks.
And that's a big energy thief. I mean, if you had to put a percentage among the thieves that we're going to be talking about, how high does that rank?
Putting the wrong size system in is very common, very, very common here in the Branson area. And one of the reasons for that is you get these general contractors building tract homes or apartment buildings, things like that, and they often take the lowest bid because they want to increase their profits. And when you do that, the lowest bid usually is smaller equipment.
Unbelievable. That's just energy thief number one.
Yeah. The second thief in our energy and comfort, for our energy and comfort, is the ductwork. Having the correct size ductwork is just as important as having the right size equipment to ensure the proper operation of your system. But that's not the only thing that can wreak havoc. The design and layout costs you thousands if it's not correct. The ductwork needs to be sized and designed properly, clear of debris, insulated properly, sealed to keep the air and energy from heating and cooling our attics, unfinished basements, and crawl spaces. The duct system is the distribution of conditioned air into the individual rooms of the home to control the comfort level. If you don't seal and insulate your ductwork properly, you're going to lose that conditioned air to other elements, and the capacity of your system decreases, and your comfort level drops, and your energy bill increases. So again, it's very important that the person calculating and designing your ductwork is well trained with a lot of experience.
So here's the question for you. Ductwork, that is a big deal.
Yeah, that's huge.
And I'm going to operate under the safe assumption that since you've been with Allied Air 30 plus years, how many cases and situations have you worked on in that time period, and this may be more than you can even calculate or count, have been tied to improper ductwork?
You said it, Josh. It's countless.
Oh my. Are we not building homes right?
Well, I can't say that.
Yeah.
What I can say is that there is a huge lack of thought when it comes to duct design.
When we talk about lack of thought, what would you say is a common deal? Is it just not? Not laid out right, or going too far from the system into the? It's
you have to look at the air distribution system with science, just like you do anything else in HVAC.
Yeah,
air moves like a liquid,
mm-hmm.
so we look at it like water. Okay, when a plumber pipes a house, we have to have the correct size water pipe coming into the house. Then we have to reduce that down to whatever appliance that we're using the water for.
Yeah.
Okay. It's very important to have the right volume of water to the appliance.
Okay.
And it's the same thing with a duct system. It's important when to know to reduce. It's important to know what size duct to put where. It's important to know how to arrange the duct system so that it gives you what you need to have at the end.
And again, you've made plenty of points regarding this since you started the show and everything. And what we've talked about is again, you could have the Cadillac of systems outside your house.
Mm-hmm.
You pay good money for it. Mm-hmm. You're proud of it. But the underlying problem is you can have that Cadillac of systems outside your house, but if the ductwork is a problem, it doesn't matter what system you have.
Doesn't matter. It's going to rob you of everything because we're paying good money to condition the air that we want inside of our homes.
Mm-hmm.
In some cases, in a lot of cases, the incorrect amount of air gets there in individual rooms, and sometimes it just goes other places. So we have to continually condition that air. It runs up our energy bills. I've got a customer that I visited this week, and we're going to be doing some work for them in another couple of weeks, but they've lived with a duct system for 12, 14, 18 years. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
But for years, and it's incorrect. We have one side of the house cold, one side of the house hot, and it reverses in the wintertime.
Uh-huh.
And it's all due to the duct design.
And any type of cracks, and it mentions in this second thief, if it's not properly sealed, that causes issues. You're having loss right there.
That's more of an issue than the incorrect duct design, is the incorrect sealing and insulation of the ducts.
Yeah.
You can lose, there's many times where it's more than 60% of energy is spent leaking out of your ducts.
Wow. Thieves. Keep them out of your house. Keep them out of your life. You're going to learn about the best ways to prevent thieves causing a problem, raising your energy bills, affecting your health. Friends, stay tuned. This is Cool Time with Tony at Allied Air at News Talk 106.3 KRZK. KRZK News Time is 9:22 on your Saturday, 54. The temp is climbing here at the Office Concept Studios. You are in the comfort zone. This is Cool Time with Tony at Allied Air. You'd like to join the conversation? Discuss thieves with us, 330-1063, to join in on the topic of discussion. Check us out on our live stream, KRZK.com. Under the on-air tab, scroll down to online streams. You can get video right into the studio, and the text line is available at 699-8446. Tony, we're continuing our discussion, and you are ready to talk about thief number 3.
I am. And first, before we get started in that,
You bet.
I want to let you know that these are not just my opinions. I do believe in everything that I'm saying, but this is proven with science and math. Okay, and the third thief of the triangle is the installation of the improper installation of new equipment. You hire a contractor to install a new system that is supposed to save you money, just to find out that nothing has changed. What do? You either pay a different contractor to come in and redo the job right, or live with the consequences. So it's very important that you hire the right contractor to begin with. You have to do a bit of homework to ensure that you're getting what you pay for. You're conducting a job interview, and you need to treat it as such. I don't know of any company that would have someone come through their door for an application for a job and put them straight to work with no questioning, with no proof of the ability to do the work. But we do it all the time.
Well, and here's a question. We were talking a little bit off air. I mean, you see a lot when you go out. That's common knowledge. You almost, you want to have cameras with you. It may turn into a reality show just about it. It'd be pretty neat to see kind of what goes on out and about on the job. But when you've gone out and you've responded, you've been doing your service calls, your testing, all of that good stuff. Now, when you're meeting with clients, how often does it come up where somebody sits there and says, Tony, I'm at my wit's end. I need you to help me out. We're uncomfortable in this house. Our health is at risk. We have had 4 contractors before you come out here, and the problem is still here. How often does that happen?
Many, many times.
That's unfortunate.
Many more times than what we would care to really say. It is a big problem, and it's nationwide. It's not only in Branson, but Branson and Hollister and the Tri-Lakes area is where we serve, and this is the area that we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
But it is a nationwide problem. Like we said in earlier shows, there's 83% of new systems are installed incorrectly.
83%?
And that's nationwide. Okay, so
Man.
I'm going to go ahead and say that here in Branson, it's a little higher than that.
Higher than 83% right here in our own backyard.
I don't have any statistics to back that up, but that's what we see.
Gosh, I mean, even if there's no statistics out there, that is an alarming number.
It is.
I mean, people out there. I mean, if I was a homeowner, and I'm looking to have some contracted work done. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not speaking for everybody out there by any means, but I will say right now that would scare me probably from picking up the phone.
Well, you need to be able to trust your contractor, and I'm going to give you a few tips to do as homework so that you can trust your contractor.
Okay.
And there are good contractors out there. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. There are a lot of contractors out there that need some training.
Okay.
The one thing that you can do, the first thing that you can do, is get some names of previous customers from the company that you're calling. Not just one or two names. You don't want their mom or their brother. You want some good clients, a list of clients. You can pick and choose a couple of those clients to call and ask about the experience they've had with that company.
And you made a good point there. I like the way you labeled it. You're conducting a job interview, really, and put yourself kind of in the boss role, right?
That's exactly what you are. Okay, you're hiring us to work for you. You are the boss.
Yeah,
you control what happens.
Very good point.
The second thing that you need to do is ask for credentials. Okay.
Do a lot of customers out there, would you say, do they do that?
No.
Oh,
no,
man.
we just trust that when someone has a shingle out and a phone number online or in the book, that they're a service company and they know what they're doing. But there are ways that you can verify this. Okay. Every HVAC contractor or technician in the nation, it's a federal law that we hold EPA certification. Okay. We have to carry that card with us. Anytime anybody asks us to produce that EPA certification, we're supposed to be able to show it to them.
Okay.
I've got mine in my wallet right now. So that's the first thing that you ask for. Can I see your EPA certification card? If they say any other thing but yes, you're probably dealing with the wrong person.
Get skeptical right then.
Right now.
Okay.
Ask for any other certifications. Now, a lot of people, in fact, most people don't realize this, but there are no municipal, county, or state requirements for testing of HVAC contractors or technicians here in the Branson Tri-Lakes area. So for your protection, ask to see other forms of testing so that you can be confident that your contractor is qualified to do the work that you're hiring them to do.
For those just tuning in, this is Cool Time with Tony at Allied Air. You got to repeat that again, that regulation in the state of Missouri, for people just tuning in.
It's not the whole state, because there are requirements for Springfield, Kansas City, St. Louis. You know, it's by city.
Yeah.
Okay.
This particular city, tell them about that again.
Branson and Hollister and the surrounding area have no testing requirements for HVAC contractors or technician. So for your protection, you need to ask to see other forms of testing proof so that you can be confident that your contractor is qualified to do the work that you're having done.
Folks, we are just getting started. This is Cool Time with Tony at Allied Air. We've got more coming up. The station for straight talk and the comfort zone. 106.3 KRZK. KRZK News Time is 9:32. You're in the comfort zone. Cool Time with Tony at Allied Air, 54 at the Office Concept Studios. Chime in. Join the conversation, 330-1063. The text line at 699-8446. And our live stream, KRZK.com. Go to the on-air tab, scroll down to online streams, get video, see what's going on inside the studio. Tony, you made a very, very good point that everybody should take notice of, and I'll recap it for you. No municipal, county, or state requirements for testing of HVAC contractors or technicians. So, as a homeowner, for your protection, ask to see other forms of testing so that you are confident that your contractor is qualified to do the work that you are having done. That's called keeping people honest.
And
ask questions.
Ask questions. That's very important. One of the best certifications that a HVAC technician or contractor can hold is NATE, NATE certification. And the contractors and technicians who don't have NATE certification, their answer to that is all that proves is that someone can pass a test. But let's look a little bit deeper into what NATE is.
Okay.
NATE certification represents real-world working knowledge of the HVACR systems developed by a committee of industry experts nationwide. Our NATE exams represent HVAC topics pertinent to contractors, educators, manufacturers, and utilities alike. All of the NATE tests are rigorous, multiple-choice, knowledge-based tests that validate a technician's knowledge. NATE candidates may earn installation and service certifications. Now, only about 40% of the people that take the NATE test pass. And there's more than one test. There's 21 NATE certification tests that you can take. They're expensive. Okay. The qualifications in order to take tests, they say that you need to have some formal training and you need to have some time in the field before you even start to think about taking the NATE certification. So yeah, it means that you can pass a test, but it means that you can pass the most prestigious test offered by the industry.
I would want somebody working on my equipment that has passed the NATE test.
So that's another certification that you can ask for. Ask for a certificate of insurance.
Okay.
Most people, well, I've never been asked to see my certificate of insurance except for my commercial partners, customers. Now, the reason that you need to ask for insurance certification or your certificate of insurance is to make sure that you're covered if something were to happen on your property to any of my guys or any guys that work on your property. Make sure that your property is covered if something should happen to your property. This is a question that you really need to ask. You need to see the proof of all these certifications. Another thing that you can do is call the manufacturer of the equipment being offered you. Ask the manufacturer what kind of training, if any, the contractor has received from them.
Is that information readily available to the homeowner when they make that kind of call?
If it's not, you're dealing with the wrong manufacturer.
Wow. So the manufacturer should be able to provide that hands down,
no problem
whatsoever.
Every time we take a class through the manufacturer, no matter who the manufacturer is, we sign in. We sign in with a date, name, company, and they keep that on file.
And again, I mean, these are we talk about how important these questions are. But again, there's so many cases out there, Tony, and we've said it over and over again, where folks just you're not asking. And again, I think we touched on it. I mean, again, it's a factor of trust. We're very trustworthy people, and we want to believe that whoever's on our property working on things knows what they're doing. So we don't take the time to ask.
Well, if you have heating and cooling behind your title of your company, people just assume that you know what you're doing. I'm not saying that there's guys out there that don't know what they're doing. There's plenty of guys right here in town that are good people, good service technicians. But the ones that don't know what they're doing outnumber us. So another question that you can ask and need to ask is if you're getting a system replaced in your home. Now the certifications and accreditations and everything you should ask anytime a service person comes to your house, whether it's HVAC or not. Anytime you have a service call, you need to see these credentials.
Somebody like that should have that on their clipboard and ready to show you.
Exactly. A question that you can ask if you're getting your system changed out is how long does it take to install a new comfort system? That's a very important question. Wow. And if you know how to read the answer to that question, it can save you a lot of money.
Okay.
The installation times vary depending on what other work has to be done in order for your new system to perform properly. If we have to rearrange some ductwork, if we have to, put the line set or replace the line sets, there's a lot of things to consider before the installation happens.
What is the normal window of time? What should we as homeowners be hearing right off the bat?
For a typical replacement, you're looking at somewhere between 8 and 24 hours. That's 1 to 3 full days.
1 to 3 full days.
There are guys out there working right now here in Branson that complete a system change out within 2 to 5 hours. They're either cutting corners on the installation in order to make more profit, or because they've underbid the project, or they simply don't know what they're doing. Either way, is that really who you want to do the work for you? There's not enough minutes in this time frame to properly install, start up, and test the system. These companies usually offer low prices and are hired by bargain hunters. We talked about one such bargain shopper last week, and we talked with him, and he told us that it turned out to be not the bargain he had hoped for. There's a lot of things, Josh, that you can bargain shop for that's not going to rob your wallet every month if you make a mistake. Your HVAC system is not one of those.
That's not something you should bargain with or be bargaining with in any way, shape, or form.
No. You got to make sure you're dealing with a good, reputable contractor and expect to pay a little more up front so that you can benefit from the performance and energy savings for your new home comfort system for many years to come.
This is Cool Time with Tony at Allied Air. More to discuss. Make sure you're getting the most out of your systems, making sure that you're healthy and happy with your HVAC system. 106.3 KRZK. KRZK News Time is 9:43:57 here at the Office Concept Studios. The comfort zone is where you're at. That's Cool Time with Tony at Allied Air. If you'd like to share with us, we're talking thieves that'll get into your wallet and wreak havoc at the home. Join the discussion. 330-1063 is the studio line. We'll put you on air with Tony. We'll answer any questions you've got. The text line. Let us know what you're thinking. Feedback, any questions you've got. 699-8446. Again, 699-8446 if you'd like to see what's going on in the studio. The live stream is up and available. KRZK.com. Click the on-air tab. Scroll down to online streams. It is that easy. Tony, you have covered 3 thieves that could absolutely wreak havoc far and wide. A lot of implications to you as a homeowner. And we talked about why it's so important. I mean, really, put yourself in that boss role as a homeowner and start asking questions. You could be saving yourselves so much money.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to deny the first person that comes to the door. Mm-hmm. If they can't show you the credentials, if they can't prove to you that they have the knowledge and experience to do the job that you need done, call somebody else.
Well, and you made a very good point, talking about some things that you need to be watching for. If a contractor comes to your door and says, hey, you know what, I can install an entire HVAC system, I can have it for you in 1 hour. You're thinking, really?
Yeah, that's just impossible.
So you can be the best HVAC contractor out there in the world, but if you're...
Let me give you... Now I've installed equipment in relatively fast terms, okay?
Uh-huh, yeah.
I've been on teams in previous employment. I've been on teams that could install, do a change out, do the put the system in place in a relatively short amount of time.
Okay.
Used to 2 to 5 hours, 10, 15 years ago, was achievable because the requirements were lower. The standards were lower. The tolerances were higher. Okay. Today, the other things that you have to do besides put the equipment in place take longer than 2 to 5 hours.
So things have changed over the last 100 years or so then, right?
Yeah. So let me give you an example of that.
Okay.
Used to, before EPA regulations, we could go out and install a system, and we just called it Freon because there was only one refrigerant that we used in home comfort, and that was R22. Before it was illegal to vent into the air, we could go out and install a system and purge the system. And what that means, Josh, is we run an open flow of refrigerant through the system for a length of time to push the oxygen and moisture out of the system.
Okay.
They never got all the moisture out of the system, but it was good enough for the systems that we were operating with. Today, especially with the new refrigerants, 410A is very, very hygroscopic, which means it absorbs moisture. Okay.
Absorbs moisture.
Absorbs moisture, and when it absorbs moisture and goes through the pressures and heat that it goes through, turns it into an acid that eats the windings of your compressor and does bad things to your coils. So it's very, very, very important that you evacuate the system with a vacuum pump to get all the moisture out of it. And the prescribed evacuation point for most equipment is 500 microns of vacuum. Now that's gauged on a water column. Okay. Simply what it means is we use Boyle's law, and we know that water boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit at atmospheric pressure. We reduce the pressure in the system. When we reduce that pressure, we reduce the boiling point of water. Okay. So it is our goal to reduce that pressure down to a perfect vacuum, which there's no such thing here on Earth. To achieve a perfect vacuum, we have to be in outer space. So we get as close to a vacuum, perfect vacuum as we can, and that lowers the boiling point of water, and we try to get it down to 50, 40, 30 degrees so that the ambient temperature can boil that water, turn it into a vapor, and being pulled out by the vacuum. The prescribed level is 400 to 500 microns. it takes sometimes upwards of 3-4. I've had to leave systems on overnight to get the required vacuum. So it's just impossible to do just that in the time frame that we talked about.
Unbelievable. Your KRZK news time is 9:48:57. Your current temp here at the Office Concept Studios. Now I don't know, Tony. I don't know if we might have scared maybe a few of the bargain shoppers out there, possibly if they're looking for the best bang for their buck, if they're in a dramatic situation, they need help right now. I'm going to say no. You don't need to be scared because you don't have to change up your habits, right?
Right.
That just means that you need a contractor out there that's going to respond to your wallet and your budget needs, but do it right. You can still be a bargain hunter, right?
Well, you can expect value.
Uh-huh.
Let's put it that way.
Okay.
You can be a bargain hunter by getting more value for the money that you spend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's just face it, the equipment costs are relatively close together no matter what brand you're looking at.
Exactly.
Now, there's a couple of manufacturers that are a little higher priced because they have to pay for advertising nationally.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones don't do that, and so they give the contractors the savings on that. But we're talking just maybe a couple of $100 difference between one brand or the other.
Okay.
Why is the price driven up with some contractors and relatively low with others? Well, you've got to look at that. Mm-hmm. You've got to understand that there are other things that need to happen that take time, that take money.
Yep.
Okay. So you don't want to cut corners, and you want a good, reputable company that'll come in and prove to you after the work is done that the work is done correctly with numbers.
So it's still possible to be thorough and correct on a budget.
Yes, and we help people with every size budget out there.
Are you kidding me? Are you messing with me?
No.
I didn't think that was possible.
I have a lady that we're helping out.
Yeah.
With a complete system. The house doesn't have heating and cooling in it, doesn't have ductwork in it, and it was all ripped out for whatever reason.
Is this something going on right now for you
right
guys?
now? And so we're able to go in and help her not only with just a new energy efficient system, okay, but she's able to purchase other items that we sell, such as the air purifier that we've talked about, the Sanivox, and things like that, all on a strict budget. We have a single lady who's raising children on a fixed budget, so we're able to do that.
And who doesn't that speak to out there right now in the listening area? This is Cool Time with Tony at Allied Air, 106.3 KRZK. More before the wrap. Keep it right here. You're in the comfort zone. 106.3 KRZK. KRZK News Time, approaching our wrap. It's 9:55. Saturday, April 19th, 57 here at the Office Concept Studios. A great show, another great edition of Cool Time with Tony at Allied Air. Tony, we've covered thieves. We've covered, how important it is for us to be the boss as homeowners and really ask those questions, ask for certifications, ask for so much more. And it ties me into a question that I don't think, I'm pretty sure I haven't asked you since we started doing the show. But what does quality mean to you as a contractor?
Quality means providing the very best service, the very best products at the very best price. And in order to do that, you have to stay current on technology. Mm-hmm. Technology is growing at a rate that if we don't stop learning, it's going to get away from us, and we're not going to know what we're doing.
Well, and you and I just talked off air a little bit, and we it's funny, some of the best stuff comes out when you're not actually talking into the mic, but it's funny, heating and cooling has been around for a very, very long time, and I'm not naming names, and I don't even know who they are anyway, but probably some are stuck in their ways. They stick with a certain brand, and you're not adaptable, you're not versatile, and we talked about it. There's stuff coming out, Tony, every single day, every single week.
And there's
and
new
you're the
things
first one to
hitting
have the
market. Yeah.
catalog. You're looking at that stuff, right?
Exactly. Well, when my wife sits at home and reads a novel, I'm sitting at home reading technical bulletins. I love to read technical bulletins and information about my industry. That is a hobby of mine. It's not something that I do. I do it because it's my job, but I love doing it. So, yeah, it's very important to keep up to date. And the people, let me give you a little example of people that are in the situation they're in with the lack of training is they started in the industry maybe with their dad or grandpa, and they said, do this. They said, why? Because I told you. And so that's what they do. Okay, with no continuing education, that's all they know to do. I don't think that they're maliciously trying to do something wrong.
Wow. And that's kind of, I just have to say, you're okay. You're okay with your customers winning every once in a while, right?
I promote winning. I'm the Dave Ramsey of HVAC.
Charlie Sheen don't have nothing on you, right, at this point. But
that's right.
We are the ones that are benefiting from you all taking the time to be up to date. You're aware of what the current trends are. You're not resting on your laurels saying, you know what, I've used this technology for 30 years. It has never failed me. Yes, it's rooted somewhere, but that doesn't mean it can't improve.
Right. And everything that we've learned in the past, we have to know and able to learn what is coming up in the future. Okay. So it builds. For the last 100 and whatever years, HVAC has built on the very first scientific equations that it was based on in the first place.
Unbelievable. And those are just real conversations, real situations that you and your team do every given day.
Every day.
And again, new tests. These are coming down to you. They're saying, okay, if there's a certification out there, you know when it's happening, you know when it's available, and you're telling your team about that, and you're becoming better for us.
And that's why we do what we do, is for the service of our customers. If I can't offer you a product, in this case service, if I can't promise you service that doesn't have value to you, then I have nothing to offer.
You are in the comfort zone. Another great edition of Cool Time with Tony at Allied Air. Your KRZK news time is 9:58. Just ahead, more great programming for the weekend. It's News Talk. It's what we do. We talk about current events and issues. Tony, great job, my friend. We look to do this next Saturday, same time, same place.
We're here.
You bet. It's Tony Martin with Allied Air. This is Cool Time. Coming up next, it's Doug Rye.